Okay, so I thought I'd tell y'all a little bit about my cancer. How I found out, and make sure people are getting their mammograms as early as possible. You can get them at 30 now with insurance approving, etc. They have approved them early now, thank goodness, not just at 40 years old. And you can also be tested for the, I believe it's called a genome test, where you're tested for the BRCA gene, 1 and 2. There's also a TET gene. There's a couple other ones as well. I am also BRCA2 positive, and it's actually a gene mutation. We all have a BRCA gene in our bodies that helps and deters cancer. The BRCA gene mutation, or the BRCA2 gene mutation, is where the BRCA2 gene is mutated and it doesn't help to deter the cancer. So in turn, you have a higher risk of breast cancer, pancreatic cancer. There's a few others that you're at a higher risk for. But I also have a 10-month-old and a 7-year-old that I manage daily. My 7-year-old is homeschooling right now. So if I'm preoccupied in this video, that's also why. So about a year ago, I noticed a small lump in my right breast, and it was probably about the size of a dime. It was very small. And so I also found out at the time that I was pregnant with my now 10-month-old. Let me see that, Mama. Thank you. And so I brought it to the attention of my OBGYN at the time. He did a examination and asked me to go get a mammogram, which I told him I didn't feel comfortable getting a mammogram at the time since I was pregnant. And so he said that we would wait till after the baby was born to do the mammogram then. I did push for him to do some kind of other testing that wasn't as harmful to the baby, like an ultrasound, since I was getting an ultrasound monthly for the pregnancy anyway, since I was over 35 years old. He refused to do an ultrasound, though, multiple times. So I then asked him what he thought it was, since he wasn't wanting to do any other testing other than a mammogram. And he told me he wasn't sure. He didn't know what it was. So, fast forward to me having the baby, and I started breastfeeding the baby, and shortly after, the lump tripled in size. Hold on just a minute, Max. It tripled in size to about the size of a softball. And since my OBGYN did not do any further testing after I had the baby, like I said, it had already been 2 months after I had the baby. There was no other further testing or anything. A mammogram, nothing. He didn't say, you need to come in, we need to get this done. This is very important. And he knew my family history of breast cancer. And my family on my dad's side having the BRCA gene mutation. He knew all that. But didn't push for further anything. You still have your underwear on. You cannot be in the video. So, I went to see a new OBGYN, and he did further testing. They did a biopsy, and they told me at the time they assumed it would be breast cancer. They weren't 100% sure, which I was very, very nervous, very fearful for the future and what they might say. I was hopeful that it would be nothing because it was round. It was very smooth edges. There wasn't jagged edges. I didn't have any discharge or any weird symptoms like that, other than redness on the skin and stuff. And it being very large. Test came back that yes, it was breast cancer.
Hello.
I was devastated, you know. I thought my life was over. I thought, this is the end, you know. My aunts died from breast cancer, both of them on my dad's side. And my grandmother, sorry about my hair, just now growing in from chemo. I went to see the oncologist, and which, very, very sweet doctor. First doctor that I found that actually listened to me and stopped and took the time to actually talk and made sure I understood everything. She told me that she was pretty sure it was triple negative breast cancer, and I was at a stage 3 at that point. So, I was obviously upset in the office. That's the one thing I didn't want it to be, was triple negative, because you read on triple negative, it's the horrible type of breast cancer. It's the one that is the worst because it doesn't have any receptors. Most cancers either have a progesterone receptor or an estrogen receptor or the HER2, which is the growth hormone receptor. And if they have those receptors, then they can either, let's say, has an estrogen receptor, it's positive for estrogen, so that means that they can stop the estrogen that's in your body and stop the cancer from growing. With a triple negative, they don't know why it's growing. They don't know how it's growing. Hang on just a minute. A little baby's trying to go down the steps. Here, let's go over here, baby. And so, without those receptors, yes, they don't know why it's growing. They don't know how to necessarily stop it from coming back. So that's why it's a more aggressive type. It usually grows faster. It usually responds well to chemo, I've read, but there are people obviously that have trouble with it responding. So, excuse me. What she said is we would do chemo, then radiation, and so that's how I found out about it. I am trying to look into, I don't know, possibly doing something legally about the doctor that didn't do anything about the knot. Even though I didn't want to get the mammogram, he still should have allowed me to get a ultrasound or something else, other testing that was possible. I just finished chemo. The tumor is responding very well to it. We won't find out how well until they do another biopsy with the mastectomy. I'll have a double mastectomy and a hysterectomy because of the BRCA2 gene mutation. And then I will have radiation, and then hopefully reconstruction, and then I will have more treatment after all that, depending on what the pathology report says. But if you have any questions, just put them down below. Like and subscribe. I will have more videos to come, and especially of the baby. Thank you.